this gangsta shit. And this the things I get.
Alright, hey, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I am Ethan Van Sciver, 25-year veteran of the comic book industry, great big Star Wars fan. I don't ever do videos like this, really, where I'm just looking at Twitter and pointing at things, but this is extraordinary. And then a pretty big Star Wars SJW warned all of his friends, like, hey, you know, you guys, I don't know, you better be prepared because you're all going to end up in a video monetized by Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I was like, I think that's a cynical, you know, I saw his tweet first. I said, that's cynical. I don't really do that. You know, I'm not, first of all, it's not really about the money. It's, you know, it's just about content and entertainment. And second of all, what are you talking about? And then I actually read the responses and I was like, oh, well, I think you're right. I think I might have to make a follow-up video about this. So last night, I did a video that I actually changed the title to. So Jon Kasdan hasn't accepted the reality of SOYLO, a Soy Wars story, yet. I changed it to Solo Writer, or Solo Author, or Screenwriter. I can't remember the title that I changed it to. But I changed it to that because I don't think people really know who Jon Kasdan is. The response that I got from people was largely, is he related to Lawrence Kasdan? Yeah, he is. He's the son of the great Lawrence Kasdan, the screenwriter of, I think, like 4 Star Wars movies, and also the Indiana Jones movies. So he's a really, really fantastic screenwriter, a terrific guy, someone worthy of lots of respect. And his son, Jon Kasdan, on the other hand, is, he's a confusing figure. He is an enormous SJW, who was raised in Los Angeles, and, you know, thus, he will say things in public like, hey, I think that Lando Calrissian is, you know, pansexual and probably does enjoy sexual relationships with his robots, and then he will not apologize for that, even though it has catastrophic effects on the movie that he wrote for Disney. So that, you know, that's the thing. Now, here's, you know, I made this video yesterday because he was basically speculating aloud. What would happen if Solo was released in December, if it had been released in December right now, rather than in May? Well, what probably would have happened is that it would have been steamrolled by Bumblebee and Aquaman, and it probably would have fared even worse than it fared in May. But then on the other hand, there is as an aside, there's a chance that maybe it wouldn't have been because other studios, like Warner Brothers, would have moved Aquaman even, you know, closer to us, or they would have moved it to January or something like that, just to avoid having to compete with a Star Wars movie, even though the Star Wars movie in question is Solo. I wanted Jon Kasdan to understand that the fact that the movie came out in May and not December was not the reason why Solo failed so catastrophically. There were many, many other more important reasons, a few of which he was directly responsible for. And until Disney recognizes that fact, they can't change, they can't fix anything, they can't move on. So I made this video. Jon Kasdan, actually, see, this is the thing. It's like, over the course of my life, the people that I really thought that I would dislike the most, and this is a trend, like people who from afar have rubbed me the wrong way. Once I actually come in contact with them and meet them, I realize they're great people and we become friends. Such is the case here with Jon Kasdan. I've read his comments; they annoy me. I've seen interviews with him; they annoy me. And I watched his movie and it annoyed me. But this is the classiest response to being confronted with my video argument, and it was a takedown of him. I think it was maybe meaner than it should have been, but I was just in a mood. I'd been driving all day, and yeah, I drove from Cleveland back to New Jersey, so it was a day on the road. So he wrote this. He said, "Just watched this vid. Thanks for your input, Ethan Van Sciver. Happy holidays to you as well." At the end of the video, I wished him a happy holiday, and I hope that my video would take the burden from him of having to worry about, you know, whether, I don't know, the movie could have done better in December rather than May. And he said, sorry you weren't a fan of the movie. I wasn't. Kind of, in a way, in a backwards way, I sort of am now. He says, hopefully future Star Wars will be more to your taste, God willing. And he says, all the best, and may the Force be with you. What a classy, incredibly gutsy response to criticism. This is something that Comicsgate talks about all the time. Like, this is how you're supposed to respond to people. Now, Jon Kasdan, gentlemen. I mean, that took energy to do that. That really took force of will. It took a good heart to be able to do that, and he did it. Now, Data Racer's here. He's asking him a little bit more. He says, hey, he wants to make sure. He wants to see if Jon Kasdan will acknowledge that The Last Jedi, lingering radiation from The Last Jedi, may have had something to do with the failure of Solo, releasing it just 5 months later. I mean, are you acknowledging, John, that The Last Jedi was such a bad movie that just releasing your movie five months later had a detrimental effect on it? Now, John kind of parries this question by saying, honestly, just wondering aloud what might have been. John has a real problem with grammar, spelling, all of those things. What might have been, positive or negative, fascinated by the feedback. It's an unanswerable question to some extent because the presence of a Star Wars movie would have altered the release dates movies. But we've had Star Wars the last 3 Christmases, and I miss it. And I did point out to him that I think the first 4 Star Wars movies all came out in May. Actually, 5. First 5 Star Wars movies all came out in May. It really wasn't until Disney came around that the idea of putting out a Star Wars movie right before Christmas became the norm. Those movies did fine. They did fine being released in May. They did just fine. And, everyone's impressed with them. Dr. Taco here says, I'm a bit stunned by your replies, John, given the context of the thread. You're not accusing anyone of being anything other than a disappointed fan of the franchise. That means a lot, to me at least. Thanks for that. And here's where, John, now you're going to read this, and you're going to think this is completely innocuous. You're going to think this is no big deal. But you see, talking and dealing with SJWs is like walking in a minefield. These people are waiting for a reason to attack. They are like piranhas that are looking for a drop of blood, and it doesn't matter who or what you are. You could be an SJW like Jon Kasdan, who's actually promoted pansexuality through his movie Solo: A Star Wars Story. You could actually be that big of an SJW, celebrated, feted SJW. But if you bleed a drop of water into the blood, bleed a drop of blood into the water around SJWs, they will swarm and attack. So this is extraordinary. When you read this, you're going to be like, why would they attack him over that? Oh my goodness, you don't know SJWs. He says, I totally feel that way. I have zero hostility towards anybody except girls that rejected me in high school. Smiley face. And as a passionate fan of many things, I totally relate to frustration. Thanks for this great reply. All the best. So Dr. Taco, great reply from you. And you just got Jon Kasdan to bleed into the water for the SJWs. Because can you figure it out? Do you see what Jon Kasdan said that was incorrect here? All right. Well, okay, here we go. Look at this. Respectfully, I'm concerned about a Star Wars creator making a joke at the expense of high school girls. Oh boy. Young women are often harassed and sidelined in this fandom, and this type of resentment can be used to gatekeep. I'm sure that's not your intent, but asking that you reconsider. He said that he girls rejected him in high school. He has some hostility. Maybe okay. Here come the SJWs. You graduated in what? 1997? Let it go, man. Here's another one. I originally agreed with you, but I'm really disappointed with this reply. No hostility towards the critic and toxic fan culture. They went into the movie determined to hate and find flaws, but hostility towards females who turned you down. How utterly misogynistic and problematic. Now, if you ever hear someone use the word problematic, run from them. They are an SJW. There's no... Problematic is a key tell. I always tell people who are trying to hire somebody and are looking to avoid hiring an SJW, go through their social media. I mean, thoroughly pour through their social media before you hire them. Don't listen to what they say and what they tell you. You actually have an obligation to look at their Twitter and just see if they're using words like problematic, if they think hashtag punch Nazi is anywhere around them, if they obsess over Trump and the Mueller probe. These are people you probably should not be hiring for reasons that will become apparent if you do hire them. Again, yeah, yikes. Yikes! Because girls were hostile. No, girls were they rejected him in high school. You're not allowed to say that anymore. Look at this. Look at this. I have been wanting to watch Solo, but after reading such a horrifying tweet by the screenplay writer, now I definitely won't. Joke or not, there are too many Elliot Rodgers out there for this to be funny. No, it's funny. Do you understand Jon Kasdan? I mean, the theme of I think my channel and I think other Comicsgate channels is tamping down this sort of behavior. You have to, John, you can't coexist with these people. You said absolutely nothing wrong. If anything, you were a gentleman. You were funny and self-deprecating. But no, now they're going to give you hell right before Christmas. I mean, I was giving you hell because you lost $80 million for Disney, John. John, I was giving you hell because you lost enough money to feed and clothe a third world nation making a terrible movie about Han Solo. These people are giving you hell because you said that girls rejected you in high school. Again, you're going to get cursed at by SJWs. This is great. Fantastic. Yeah. No, why? Oh. Again, I don't know what any of this is, but you should clarify this tweet before it becomes a major distraction. Solo was frankly a bajillion times better than The Last Jedi, and I don't want to see it marred by some bad Twitter jokes. I hope. Alright, so, in any case, it goes on and on and on. I invite you to read the thread. I do think it's funny. Obviously, do not interact with any of the people involved. Do not, harass anyone or send them any messages or anything like that. Never do that. Ever do that. But do enjoy the reality of what living with the social justice warriors actually means. What it actually means. It means this. It means you will... you cannot make little jokes like this that people used to make all the time that used to be thought of as innocuous, and now they're hate crimes. Merry Christmas. Hey, want to follow me on Twitter? Okay, cool. I'm at Ethan Van Sciver. Talk to you there. Show your friends you support independent comics while showing the world who you back in the fight against the swarm with the brand new Cyberfrog t-shirt from Crypto Fashion and Comic Artist Pro Secret. Sizes come in small to 5XL, and take your choice of colors between navy blue, white, and black. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and order the Fandom Menace, Go Get Daddy's Belt, Tico, and SOYLO t-shirts as well. Link is below in the description. You're going to look great. People love these shirts. They fit wonderfully. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video and want to become part of this community, subscribe to this channel by clicking the laughing man face logo right on your screen. Ring the bell for notifications as well. You'll never miss a live chat. And stay tuned, another video by Comic Artist Pro Secrets is coming right up.